The man I have got standing to my left used to be my boss, but John Lane is the man in the know when it comes to finance.
Good afternoon, Lindsay. I did indeed. I would never go as far as to say I was your boss.
Well,
you worked with us.
Yeah, okay then. Right, John, I want a Citizen machine. I'm a customer. How can you help me?
Well, the first thing we'll do, Lindsay, is talk to you about what are you going to try and do with the machine. Whether it ends up as HP, leasing, or rental is really secondary. We need to know whether that machine investment is going to make financial sense for your business. Will it earn you any money?
And at what point of the stage do you start talking to the customer?
Well, I and the sales engineers will start talking to the customer about the potential earnings of the machine very, very early on. Because there's no point in going too deep and spending time and money for the customer or for Citizen if it turns out the project is not going to be financially viable. And with just a few simple questions, we can start to get to how much will this project actually earn you an hour? If the job is a penny a second, that's £36 an hour. How much will £36 an hour buy me? How much will £60 an hour buy me? We know we won't have all of the answers early on, but if it turns out that it's just not viable, we're either looking at the wrong machine, the wrong process, or we're just looking at the wrong job.
You're kind of considering the different variables, and I know when I've spoken to people, it's not sometimes the cost of the machine ultimately, it kind of leans down to that cost per part as well. And you're providing a calculator for this, is that right?
We at Citizen have developed a cost per part calculator where we very early on dig into the financial side and the financial impact of the investment. And I'm a great believer in when you say who pays for the machine, it's actually the customer of our customer who pays for the machine. The guy who's buying the components pays for the machine, because if he doesn't, then it's not a viable project.
No,
so we really try and look at how quickly will you get your money back, where will your cash flow be, what's the return on investment, because every engineering company has got several drawers on its capital reserves. So we have to make sure the machine tool investment is the right one.
Yes.
Otherwise they should spend the money somewhere else.
Exactly. Now we'll cover government schemes and everything that's out there at the moment, but John, a couple of case studies, and there's one that's kind of close to your heart, isn't there? There's a case study.
There is, as you know, Lindsay.
I
used to be part owner of a subcontract engineering company. Got involved many, many moons ago with a friend of mine. And for me it was an education, it was a learning process. And I was only really involved on the finance side. I am not an engineer, so I never ventured into that part of it. But what we could see very quickly was that there was no point in us looking at an investment unless it was going to be a financial benefit to the company.
Yes.
After a few years, we looked at our first Citizen machine, and it really was a game changer for the company. We got into unattended running.
Yes.
And what we found was that for the least amount of capital investment, we were getting a greater amount of turnover, and more importantly, we were making more money. And
that's a sensible financial decision, but there's also value in the machines, which I think is really important.
Well, when eventually we came to sell the business, one of the reasons that we do feel we were able to sell it as a going concern, and the company is still doing very well, was that we'd invested in top quality equipment. The people who bought it had no trouble valuing the equipment. They could see the staff were trained, and although we didn't have long-running project contracts, we had long-running customers.
Yes.
And they knew that we could supply them quality parts off quality machines. Hence, we were able to sell the business.
And successfully.
It was excellent, yes.
Another case study is quite interesting. This is kind of like a family-orientated case study. Why is that?
Well, the cost, you talked about the cost per part calculator, but at one of the machine tool exhibitions, we had the MD of a company come onto the stand and his son.
Yes.
And they brought some drawings, and they wanted to know if we could find a solution for manufacturing a particular part. Well, very quickly we were able to identify the machine, but then what we wanted to know was, would this make financial sense? Because the MD was saying, this is not an inexpensive investment. So we got him to give us the numbers, roughly what he was going to sell the component for, We plugged that into the cost per part, and we showed him at the bottom of the page he was going to make money.
That's what you want.
He was still quite worried, and I sensed there was somebody else going to make a decision. But his son actually said to us, "Can I take this with me? Because I want to show it to our finance director." Who was the finance director?
I know.
Mum was the finance director.
Yes.
So they took the cost per part, they showed it to their mother, said, "Mum, if we invest this amount of money, this is the return we will make."
Absolutely.
Mum said, "That makes sense.
Yes.
I've got no problem there." They're now buying their third machine, and we're evaluating that on cost per part as well. And it will be the biggest investment they will ever have made.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, okay, government schemes, because a lot of the time we're talking about this a lot, MTD have promoted it a lot. What's out there at the moment then? If someone's going, right, okay, like the look of these machines, can I get some help?
Well, as you know, we've just come through an incredibly difficult time. And we had the C-bills, but that is all gone now. The direct government support with financial support. But we've now got the super deduction.
Yes.
And to me, it's probably one of the first incentives where the government are actually saying, if you are a successful company, we will support you. A lot of government aid in the past has been for companies who are failing.
All right,
But
okay.
no, this is for people who are successful, who've got profit, and who want to hedge that profit and invest in new machinery.
Yeah.
They are saying to them, you invest and we will support you. And I believe that's the right way to go.
Can you tell us some of the calculations? It's quite interesting.
It's quite simple almost. With the new super deduction, before super deduction, you would save on a £100,000 machine £19,000. With super deduction, you'll save £25,000. 25% of the machine. It's a big lump of money.
Yes, of course it is.
And it will impact on people's investment decisions. I actually don't think the government are doing anybody any favours though, Lindsay.
Okay, go on then.
Because they'll get that money back.
Yes, well, they know, they're clever.
On
they
a
know what they're doing.
machine, just as an example, a £100,000 machine, I think a company would expect to turn over about £10,000 a month on that.
Right.
So let's keep the math simple, have 10 months in the year, that's £100,000. They'll keep the machine for 10 years. That's £1 million of activity that machine will create.
That's a lot.
One machine tool.
One machine.
One machine. But more importantly, of that £1 million, that engineering company will spend 90% of that, at
course they
least,
will.
£0.9 million worth. The 900,000 will be spent by somebody else.
Yes.
And if you carry on and you keep going down, you actually get to over £6 million worth of activity
Yes.
created in the economy
Yes.
from one investment.
Machine.
And that's cost the government £6,000 in tax.
Yeah.
If they do create £6 million and there's 10% profit on that at 25% corporation tax, that's 150 grand the government get back for their and that's not to say, think of all the tax that's paid on the wages through that.
So it's helping the government, it's helping people, and you know what, sometimes finance is quite scary, but you know, you can simplify it like that and you can explain that when you're speaking to customers.
Absolutely. If a customer wants to know what's the impact on my business, we can very quickly work it out.
Yeah.
We can work out where your year end is, we can look at your VAT, we can talk about
Everything.
various things, because I suppose at the end of the day, Lindsay, we've been at it for a long time now.
Well, yeah, I don't know. John, thank you so much.
You're welcome.